Rower. Alright, so for the month of July, I really wanted to participate in my first readathon, and I figured there were a lot because I know there are a lot that happen during the summer, and I thought it would be a great way for me to motivate myself to read more books because, you know, you're reading kind of based on like prompts, or you're reading with other people who motivate you to read more. So luckily, after reading Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, this readathon couldn't come at a better time because it's actually the Grishaverse Read-A-Thon. I will leave a link down below if you want to participate, so that will be in the description box. For this readathon, there are 6 different prompts. It's nice because it's basically 6 books that you want to read, and then I made my TBR overly ambitious for this month. I made it 7 books. So today I just kind of wanted to go through the books that I am planning on reading. The first prompt that we have is team, and I was team Sildroar. Our prompt is to read a standalone book. So for my prompt, the book that I chose was Romanov by Nadine Brandeis. This book is an Princess Anastasia retelling, which kind of follows her family in exile and then what happens to Anastasia and Alexei after the tragedy. I don't think that's that much of a spoiler because that's like the history of what happened to that family. But it's a really nice retelling. It is different than the movies that we're used to. And it does involve this like super interesting magic system that has like spellcasters in it. It just seemed really interesting. Also, being that my name is Anastasia, anytime there is a retelling of Anastasia, I automatically have to pick that up. So this is my book choice for this standalone prompt. So prompt number 2 is Shadow and Bone, which is to read a book that has magic in it. So for this, I chose Sorcery of Thorns. It follows this girl, Elizabeth, who has been brought up knowing that sorcerers are evil, and she belongs in this magical association of the Great Library, which has all of these artifacts about sorcerers. That way you could learn how to defeat them when you're older, and she plans on joining this fight to protect her kingdom from sorcerers. There is a great crime that is committed, and Elizabeth is kind of framed for doing it. So on her way to the capital to face her trial, she runs into this sorcerer. I believe his name is Nicholas Thorne, and basically the spiral downwards of self-doubt and did I actually grow up knowing everything, and conspiracy theories begins. So I'm very interested in seeing that. I love when characters kind of go through this like self-awareness and change in their mentality towards something, so I'm hoping this will be fun to read, and also magic. What's not to love, right? Prompt number 3 is the Sun Summoner. Basically you have to read a book with a star on the cover, stars or moon on the cover. So I chose The Night Circus. I've been looking forward to reading this book for a really long time because I truly love anything that has to deal with the circus. So basically this book, it follows the circus that comes at night. And the beauty of the circus though is it does have actual magic, unlike magicians who more so do sleight of hand tricks. What happens in this is not only are you following the circus, but you're also following Celia and Marco, who are 2 magicians that are basically battling it out to kind of see who is, I guess, the ultimate magician. And it's interesting concept because it is magical, but it's also kind of like a survival of the magicist, I guess. So it's not like survival of the fittest, it's like survival of who has more control of their magic. So they have been training for this championship since they were very, very little children, since they were very, very young. The only thing that they don't know is that only one of them can actually live through the battle. So what you're basically going through is you're basically following the circus, and all of the audience that come that night are actually watching them kind of duel it out for this spot. I think it's a very interesting concept. I do know that there's some romance in it, and I have heard that the writing is beautiful. I've heard that this pace is a little bit slow, which is kind of scary because this is like 500 plus pages. So I really hope I could get through it because I do tend to need a faster pace if I want to actually finish the book within a week. For prompt number 4, I chose to be a korporalnik. I guess that's how I pronounce it. I'm not sure if that's actually how they're pronounced. But for this, you had to read a book with a body part on it or read a book with a red cover. For this, I chose City of Ghosts, which basically City of Ghosts follows this girl, Cassidy, who her parents are actual ghost hunters. But what they don't know is that Cassidy can actually see ghosts, like IRL, and even her best friend is a ghost, which kind of gave me like Casper vibes, which was super exciting. And her family moves to the city to start working on their own television show of ghost hunting. And she meets in that city another girl who can also see ghosts and tells her that their job as people who can see ghosts is to actually help get the ghosts to this place called the Veil. That's all I know going into this, is that it's ghosts and that there's best friends that are ghosts. And I'm also very excited for that because I don't read a lot of ghost stories because, as I mentioned before, I am a scaredy cat. I'm hoping that because this is middle grade, I won't be as scared, but chances are I'll still be scared. So because it's summer, because everyone is home, this has made its way onto my TBR list. The 5th prompt is nations, and for nations I chose the nation of Ravka, which is a prompt asking you for any story that either deals with Russian aspects or the author is from Russia. So for this I chose Vasa and the Night. It is a Vasilisa the Beautiful retelling, and this is going to be my 2nd time trying to get through this book. Last time I DNF'd it on page 52. I'm not sure why. I was actually kind of enjoying it, but it was just my winter break was ending and my last semester was starting, so I didn't have a lot of time to keep on reading. And also, this is a book that I really had to pay attention to in the first 50 pages because Vasilisa the Beautiful, and actually a lot of Russian fairy tales and folk tales, don't have that much explanation going on and are kind of a little bit all over the place, so they're not very linear. And their magic system definitely by far does not make sense. So in Vasa in the Night, you really have to pay attention from like page 1, which is why I guess I gave up on it originally, because not only was I starting classes, but this is a book that I really want to get through and I have to focus on it, even though again it's really not long. I think it's like only 300 or 270 pages. So hopefully I can get through this time, because from what I had read, it was really nice and very captivating. Prompt 6 is the bonus prompt. The bonus prompt was read any book from the Grishaverse. So the book that I chose to read was Shadow and Bone because it's the first one in the Grisha trilogy, and I have not read any of them other than Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I really wanted to read King of Scars, but I had heard multiple people tell me that King of Scars makes much more sense once you actually finish the Grisha trilogy. So I'm going to hopefully be able to finish Shadow and Bone also in July. I'm really going into these books basically knowing nothing. I know that it is Russian-based country, and that was kind of enough for me to buy the books. And the only other things that I know is basically that Ravka is now in a war, and that is it. So I'm going into this completely blind, which is totally fine because I actually don't even want to know what it's about. I just want to be fully like engrossed into the world. There is one final book that is on my TBR, which is why I said it is very overly ambitious already, because I am kind of a slow reader, but I'm hoping to be able to finish it on time. The last book that I'm reading, and sorry, I don't have the video editing skills yet to just kind of insert it here, so I had to show my Kindle, and that is, we are reading The Last Kingdom. So this is book 1 in the Saxon stories. I'm super excited. So far I'm like 150 pages in, And I do love it. There are some slow bits, and that is kind of understandable considering it is a 13-book series. The last book is actually scheduled to come out in October, so fingers crossed we can actually finish the first 12 books before that comes out, because I would love to have like real-time conversations with other people reading it. But we'll see, because once again I said so far the first 150 pages, the first 50 to me, I swear, I have been listening to this and reading it on audiobook, and the first 50 pages to me, I almost actually fell asleep because the descriptions of how things are made were just kind of like relaxing me and swaying me into this very nice and relaxed sleep. So hopefully I will finish it, and hopefully I will like it enough to get the next book. That is my TBR list for the month of July. And again, if you want to participate in the Grishaverse Read-A-Thon, the link will be down in the description below. That is my read-along, my Read-A-Thon TBR for the Grishaverse Read-A-Thon. Participate in the Grishaverse Read-A-Thon.